What's up, traders? Going, I guess, let's break even. So 2 for 4 today. Yeah, 2 for 4. Yeah, obviously you can see it's a red day. Nothing too crazy, right? We made $100 yesterday, lost $120 today. This is our first red day in who knows how long. Not justifying, not trying to back it up. I just saying it's not that bad, right? It was just one bad trade, which we did happen to make a mistake on, and we'll get to that. So we'll start with AFRM, which is where we started. Nice little trade near the bell. Big pop up through 51. Started this thing with how many shares did we take this? Took 75, and got a nice drop back down through 51. Took it all off, $48. Decent trade, right? This was a pretty normal trade. LAC. I got a little sucked into this one because if we kind of scroll in when we first started this thing, this is what it looked like, right? So this is what kind of sucked us in. We knew someone else was in it, or a couple other people were in it, and this is what it looked like when we got in. Was it a little grindy? Yes. The 9 was actually already catching up pretty decently, but up until this point, I was watching it from all the way down here under the double top, and it went through pretty grindy, but then it made these two candles. And if we scroll in, you'll see that these two candles were just as big as this candle. And I was like, man, this thing's already extended, and it put in some big candles with some volume. And I even recognized that. You go watch the live trade down there on, then comment. It'll take you over to Twitch. Watch it. But as you'll see, this thing decided not to work. Now, and here comes the mistake. We were in it. This is our time limit. It made a high, tried to pull back several times, didn't. And I am assuming that I put my mouse right around here. Somehow, by the time I clicked the button as I was watching the price, it hovered to here, which was 75% instead of the 100%. Now, if you go watch the trade, you'll notice, especially because Twitch chat, thank you, by the way, I forget exactly who it was, but they said, hey, you still have shares. And I had just noticed they said that. I look over, and sure enough, I still had shares. So I went back and checked, and I knew I hit the 75% button by accident. I just didn't know how, but I drifted, and it sucks. But at this point, when I realized it, this candle was up at 36.30, right? We covered on the 36 break. We got filled at 36.10. Now I'm like, oh man, big move up. It'll probably try to pull back. I'll just wait until it comes back, and I'll just get out of the shares where I was supposed to. Well, the thing just keeps going and going and going, and it goes up through the $0.50. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. This is somewhere I'd be looking for an entry. However, I still have those 50 shares from down here, so it kind of sucks. But I end up adding those 50 back on the pop up through 50. It went to 70, started to come back down. We add, and it brings our average up to like 36, I don't know, like 16 or something like that. So at this point, I'm just looking for it to come back down to 36 and probably just take the shares off. In a way, we end up actually making a little bit back from the first trade. Well, as you can see, it never does that, but it starts to hover around. And I'm like, you know what? There's no way I'm letting this go back through high of day. I made a mistake. I shouldn't even be in this. I'm going to just add some shares. And if I'm right, we can actually make some money back. If I'm wrong, we're that close to high of day, I'll just cut it. And it won't be that much of an added loss. Even though if I went back and actually checked, I would have lost, it was like a little under $120 had I got the full cut here. But I ended up losing, I think it was 181. So I ended up losing an extra $60 because of my mistake. However, I didn't mind, in hindsight, obviously, I didn't mind the added risk here because this is possibly a trade I would have taken anyway, looking for that move back down because there was no real pullback at this point. So I'm looking for that pullback to happen. And there was another nice pop through a key area, through two key areas. And you'd be looking for that pullback there. And it just didn't work again, right? 2 times didn't work. So at that point, I'm pretty much done with it. I'm like, I'm just going to let it do its thing. I'm going to wait for this trend line that started to form, which we can draw real quick. There was a pretty clear trend line here. So I told myself, we're going to wait for that trend line to break. We're going to wait for it to try to go back to the highs after that trend line breaks. and fail. And when it fails, that's when we're going to try to get short, because that's just something I've noticed in the past that tends to work a lot. If you see an obvious trend form, when that trend breaks, if it can't go higher after that, the odds are that's going to be a move down. So we end up taking 100 shares here. And as you can see, it does come down. We were actually up, it was like $50 or something like that. We only took 100 shares. So we could have took that $50 and it would have went towards the day, which would have been nice. We'd actually only be down $70 at the time. But I really thought that if we showed weakness here, we were going to at least get a retest of that previous resistance, which was down here at 36. So I was kind of shooting for a home run here, and I didn't take anything off. I was planning on there being some sort of a bounce. I was just hoping that it was right here at 37 and then it was going to fall over. And right here was where, to me, it was supposed to drop, but it didn't. And then before you know it, it just started squeezing and we ended up taking it pretty much break even. I think we lost another $11. Yeah, because we were at 181. We ended at 192. We ended up losing another $11 on this trade. And after that, this thing ended up just grinding higher and then tried to come back, same area. And then ultimately, this thing actually ended up exploding up on some volume. But since then, it has been a disappointment. So obviously, we're not going to sit here and go through all this. Just a frustrating trade, right? Mistake made us lose a little bit extra. Maybe without that mistake, we don't take this trade. I don't know. Probably still take this trade because, over $100 loss, I'm probably looking to get something out of it, especially because, again, there was still no real pullback. There was nothing. It was just a grind higher. So we were waiting for some sort of a pullback. But I guess that was all it had for us, was this little bit here. And that ended up being the crap trades of the day. After I had kind of stopped, MULN popped up. This one was a pretty easy one, in my opinion. It was kind of volume out of nowhere, waited, made sure it wasn't going, absolutely crazy. Started it. I was actually looking to make $30 on my starter. We took 300 shares, looking to make 10 cents on the way back down here. And it kept going. We added another 300 shares. And for some reason, it just felt like it didn't pop my average up very well. I guess my ad was a little bit too close together. But right after I got my ad, it actually started to continue. And I was ready to add 600, but I was definitely waiting for over 3 at this point. Because this thing was straight up with real no pullback at all. It was just kind of grinding. It started to feel like it was grinding, but it was really struggling. So when it came down, put these out pretty close to my average and took 400 of the 600 off. Or was it? Should we take off here? But it was more than one. I took more of it. 450. So maybe I took 75% there. Yeah, it was 450 because then, or no, 300 and then 150 here. Right. And then we had 150 left because I took 100 down here, which then left us with 50. Because I was hoping that we would get the bigger push down through 250 with the remaining shares. But as you can see, started to curl up and we ended up taking those off. So we're looking to make more than we ended up making with an ad, which was kind of depressing in a way, but it is what it is. As you can see, this thing also just grinded higher. But yeah, $121 in the hole today. I am human. I have red days. Here it is. Here's one of them. They're rare. I am, somewhat of somebody who doesn't let this happen very often. It's not that I let it happen. It's just you're going to have trades that don't work. And sometimes they're going to take more money from you than you want. And then you're also not going to have all the other trades on the day to help buffer the losses. Some days you'll have a big loss, but you'll have trades throughout the day that'll help get them all back. And so the emotions can get to you. I was just saying about that trend line break trade that I took. I was up $50 on it. Had I taken that trade just normally without being in the hole, I would have been happy as crap to take the $50 winner. But because I was going for a home run, because I was right on that trade, and I was biased that I thought it was going to do something that, looked realistic, doesn't mean it's going to do it. Obviously, it didn't do it. So, yeah, SPY's gone kind of straight down as well. You guys can't see that. Pull it right here. That's all I got for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Always appreciate the support. If you do have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. If you have any questions outside of YouTube, feel free to find me on Discord. You can find me on Twitter, or you could come join us live. We're actually starting to grow the audience. We're back up over that 20 viewer pretty consistently, which is nice. And yeah, come join us. It's a lot of fun. You guys can join in on the shenanigans that happen when things slow down and all that good stuff. But anyways, yeah, enough rambling. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.